Well, first of all, listen, it's interesting about all these young guys today. They never call on us and say, hey, thanks for the kind word and telling me how great a player I am. But when they play like crap and we call them out, we don't know what we're talking about. Listen, I'm easy to find.
Cut it off! I am having a very bad day. I am in no mood. This, today, is one of the worst days that I've had in a long time. I'm not in the mood to play with anybody. I mean, damn it! I'm ticked off!
Welcome, Big Nate Sports Talk, episode 24, season 9. Hope your weekend was swell. Hope you all did something that was fun, safe, productive. Hope you're all staying hydrated, staying cool, because this summer heat is just something else. Before we get into the video, I'd like to say a couple things up front. The previous 3 videos that I recorded, they should be already up by now. Check those out if you hadn't already. Again, please like, comment, subscribe, share the podcast. I appreciate those that have subscribed to the channel. Much love. I appreciate you for doing that. What's coming down the pipe after this video, the Maryland men and women's basketball. Their schedules have been released, so we're going to break those down. You'll see those in separate episodes. So that'll be episodes 25 and 26. As far as season 9 will go, season 9 will end when the regular seasons for the WNBA when it's officially over. Season 10 will start with the playoffs, and then we'll get into preseason, and then football will take pretty much over after that, and then we'll get into some baseball at some point once playoffs start. The rest of season 9, my goal is to have it uploaded by tomorrow. I'm working on some of it after this episode. Get at least up to 15 episodes uploaded through Anchor via Spotify. I appreciate your patience. All season 8 has been uploaded except for 2. Except for 2 episodes that I forgot to download, so I do apologize. But other than that, we're caught up in terms of right now up through 24. So my goal is to get 15 up to episode 15 in season 9 uploaded tonight, and then work on the rest tomorrow. But let's get into the meat and potatoes of what happened tonight, early this afternoon. So I had the wonderful pleasure of going to see the Washington Mystics play the Los Angeles Sparks. But before we get into that game, we played the Chicago Sky, and we played them on Friday. We played them Friday. And the Washington Mystics lost that game painfully 93-83.
These are legitimate questions. I don't have answers. I'm starving for answers. I'm starving for them because I don't have them. I'm so disgusted because I got to be out there at that game this Saturday. I got to see this. Inquiring minds want to know why. I truly do want to know why.
Let me start with some pregame tape from Coach T, and then we're going to break down the Chicago game.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining. If you have a question for Coach, please raise your hand and we'll get to you. We will start with Jen.
Hey, Coach, how's it going?
Good. Yeah.
How confident are you feeling today going against the number one team without Elena?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, there's no predicting at this point. I've given up trying to, predict how we'll play, what we'll feel like. It's interesting because the last time we played them in our win against them, Elena was there. She started the game, and that was the game that after 7 minutes of playing time, she didn't play, and we end up winning the game. So I have no idea. I think our team is in a real good mindset right now, and I think that we're getting better in a lot of phases. So I think I'm optimistic about how we'll play. So I don't know.
Maybe that's the secret sauce, Elena, for 7 minutes.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, it's funny. I mean, you play all these different teams with different lineups, and it's so much different at this point in the season than it maybe was how you were playing 2 months ago. Just confidence level with each other. The other day we played with Elena, who wasn't feeling great, and we had a lot of other people step up. So who knows?
Yeah, so kind of on that note, do you feel like there are things you can still take from those games that were like 2 months ago, or not so much?
I think there's things that you can take as far as, individual player tendencies. I mean, one of the things that we've tried to lock in with our players is understanding who you're defending, what their strength is, what their weakness is. And so those players are still out there playing. They may have a couple new plays. They might be doing a few things differently, but, players still have tendencies. And so I think, you try defensively, which I think we've been pretty good at, is making people play to, their not so much weakness, but to the things they don't do quite as well. We've talked about that a couple times this year, is that, when you're playing defense, you're betting the odds. And so that's what you're trying to do. And I think those are the things you can take from those games.
And last thing for me, Tosh has been, her numbers look great the past couple games, but just looking at her minutes, I'm curious kind of how you approach her minutes heading into the stretch run of the season. Is there any consideration where you might want to try to lighten that load heading into the playoffs, or is she good?
I mean, I think she's good. I think there's a couple answers to that. One is that we'll see where we are when we get to next weekend. If how much those games mean or don't. But I think the other part, everybody talks about game minutes, and for me, a lot of it is cumulative minutes throughout the week. And so we have tried not to, accumulate big practice minutes. We sat her out of practice almost completely yesterday. She did some of the shooting at the start and some other stuff, but we're trying to get their minutes and rest on days off too. When we get back this weekend and we play Sunday, we won't even let any of our players in the gym on Monday. And so, that's a buildup toward, something, that we can manage all of next week. And so a lot of it has to do with what you do on the other days.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep.
Wayne?
Hey, Coach, good to see you. On games like this with no Elena, the bench is key. What are you looking for tonight from the bench?
Well, it's a little bit different. I mean, the bench is key, I think, differently in that one of your bench players is a starter tonight. So, Maisha, and it's a little bit different. I want to see, whether it's Tiana in that spot or whoever, you've got those 4 players that are playing for our bench every night, come in with consistent energy, take advantage of your opportunities, push the tempo. I mean, when you have Rui in the game and Shatori in the game together, you should be able to play at a pretty quick pace. And we've been able, I think, to try to do that. I think there was a big part of the other night against Las Vegas, just keeping the tempo with our second group. And I think that's what we'll try to do tonight.
And last one, Coach, with a game like this, playoff positioning, playoff seeding, how much weight do you put into a game like this tonight?
I don't put any more weight on it than any other game we've played, honestly. It's the next one on the schedule. We could tie the season series, but it probably won't matter anyway. We're not in a position right now to catch Chicago unless we win every game and they, lose 3 or 4. So that's not even something we talk about. My whole thing is, and it's been consistent, I think, with our team, is, let's be a little bit better today if we can than we were the other day in some area. And so, we want that to be a cumulative effect as we get toward the postseason. I think that what I'm most proud of with this team, both, from an organizational standpoint, from a player standpoint, from a coaching standpoint, is that we have had a plan for the season on how we were going to manage players and minutes and all the injuries, and we have stuck to the plan. Everybody's got a different question every week. Well, what about this? We have stuck to our plan about what we want to do with Elena, what we want to do with Alicia, and all the various other things, whether it's been, these guys don't need to practice today, or these guys, we need to take a full day off, or, tonight Elena's not playing. And I think that, I think it's shown that we've gotten better as the season has gone along, and we're playing probably our best basketball for the most part the last couple of weeks. And that was, part of a plan that you hope works. And I think that we've done a pretty good job of that.
And last one, Coach, since the last time you've seen Chicago, just what have you noticed from them as a team? Any improvements on that front?
Yeah, I mean, I think that they have found some things out about their team. I'll say it like this. They play a little bit more like a good European team in a style sense. And by that, I mean, there's a lot more give and go plays, more back doors. Adding Alamon to the mix was a big deal for them, especially, Vandersloot missed games with a concussion. Alamon picked up the slack for them. They're so deep. I mean, with her and, Azrae Stevens and Rebecca Gardner, they have an exceptional bench also. And so I think, they've been able to play deeper than some of the teams we've played some nights. And I just think they have a lot more ball movement than a lot of teams, and ball movement and player movement than some of the teams we've played over the last month.
Thank you, Coach. Best of luck tonight.
Thank you.
And didn't see that. So, couple fun points. Maisha Hines-Allen led the team in scoring in that game against Chicago, 21 points. 3 of 5 from 3, 8 of 15 of shooting from the field. That's her. That ties for her best 3-point shooting game. In that game, she tied, like the last time I think it was against Minnesota. That was back in June. That was her 4th game where she scored with 15 points, or 15 or more points and 5 or more rebounds in that game. Shakira Austin, who I still think should be Rookie of the Year in my opinion, was 17, 6, has 17 points, 6 or 7 from the field, 4 rebounds. Evina Westbrook got in there, just honestly she had 10 points, 3 or 4 from shooting, couple threes. But honestly and truthfully, they were garbage minutes, and it was a garbage 10 points. No disrespect to Avina, but the game was already over by that point. I mean, Chicago, they I'm not going to lie. Watching that game, the Washington Mystics literally just looked flat out just looked winded. They looked exhausted. They just looked tired. And I'm not going to sit here and say, that's the excuse. I'm not going to use that as an excuse. They just looked fatigued. It really started in the first quarter. I mean, when you play Chicago, and I said this was the key, you can't let their length bother you. What I like to have seen more pick and pop. You've got players like Maisha, Tiana. They can do those things. They were very aggressive going to the lane, and I don't know why they started falling back from that. One thing I've noticed this season for the Washington Mystics is when they have this one, if they have if the Washington Mystics have, for example, right, let's say one possession, let's say the score, I'm just giving a random score. The score is 21-15, right? They turn the ball over or they miss a shot, it's a domino effect. Like there's this point where they don't know how to, okay, we gotta move on from that possession. It just looks like a domino effect. I mean, to watch Coach T just stand there at the end of the bench with his hands in his pocket, sometimes his hands folded, he's talking to them on the sidelines. I mean, just had no answers. I mean, to the point where going into the second half, he just started pulling the starters. Like the fact that Chicago, I mean, we couldn't even get the lead. The closest we got the lead down to was we were down 6. That was it, the closest. But most of the time, there was one point where they were going to get 30 balled. They were down 24, 25, I remember. They just look bad. And I don't want to use they played 4 games in 6 days. Like I'm just going to reiterate what I from being in the Zooms and listening to them in post game. I remember after the New York Liberty loss, Natasha Cloud was like, "You got to put on your big girl pants and just move on to the next one." Like at some point, as a player, as an individual, you have to take a look at yourself in the mirror and going, what do I have to do to be better? Like these are all simple fixes. Like to see it, the same team Tuesday that beat Las Vegas and then come out and look just flat, flat to the point where what am I looking at? Like they never. The Washington Mystics didn't even get the lead under double digits in the second half. I mean, for the most part, it was 20 or more points. Give Chicago credit. They came in after losing to Dallas. They came in ready to go. They made all the shots. They were great in transition. They had pace. They spaced the floor. I mean, for the most part of the game, well, I'll say pretty much for 3 quarters, they were the better team. Like looking at this box score, your leading scorers were Kalia Copper with 19, Allie Quigley with 18, Courtney Vandersloot and Emma Meeseman had 20 points combined. Candace Parker had 9 points. I mean, your bench was pretty much getting touches all on the ball. You had Azrae Stevenson and Rebecca Gardner, 22 points combined. You even had Jolie Allman in there. She had a couple assists, a couple rebounds, 3 points. Like Dana Evans had 2 points. I mean, like everybody was active and was involved. That's their style of play in Chicago. And I said you have to limit your turnovers. You have to be ready in transition because their transition offense is arguably one of the best transition offenses in the game. And I did not see that at all. Like it's this is basketball 101. If you turn the ball over or you're in the transition, your first thing is to get back on defense. Okay, when you get back on defense, you have to communicate and say, I'm picking up target X, person 1, 2, or 3. You got to communicate. I did not see that. What I saw in the transition, as a transition defense, at times there are 2 or 3 players that would just run to the paint and then look like a deer in headlights. Oh, who's picking her up? That's what I saw against Chicago. That's what I saw in the Chicago game. I mean, my eyes don't lie, and the film doesn't lie. Now I'll talk more about that when we get to this. When we get to the Sparks game, but like they entered Friday as tied for the 4th seed, and now Seattle most likely will have that 4th seed tied up like a Christmas bow on a present, ready to be wrapped under, put under their tree. Like, because they hold the tiebreaker, but like, and Coach T, I'm going to reiterate, you'll hear this in the post game. They just have to mentally prepare for today. They had to prepare for today. You have 2 days, get some rest, mentally just unwind, just get prepared for Sunday. And then on top of that, I mean, you're not going to win basketball games. I mean, as a cohesive unit, I think everyone did well. You shot 47% from the field, but you're just not going to make shots, especially when you're taking 24 threes and you only made 8 out of 24. The turnovers were down. You had 11 turnovers. You had 11 fouls. I mean, the fouls weren't the issue. I mean, hell, Chicago had more fouls than we had. They just looked exhausted. I don't know. But I mean, some of the things that I saw was it was bad. It's not concerning, but that watching them play the Chicago Sky Friday, that was probably one of the most disappointing games I ever saw this season, in my opinion. Let me get into the post game with Coach T, and also to the ladies. They hosted a media blackout. So there's part of it that was cut off, and I will. Wrong one. I'm sorry. I will play. I will read one of the quotes from the post game.
Mike, obviously you guys have been playing at such a high level against the top teams. I mean, what was the difference tonight, especially in that first quarter?
It felt like we were flat. We did not have a great practice yesterday, and we played like we practiced yesterday. It's probably the first bad one that I would say we've had in a long while, where we couldn't generate the energy. The turnovers were, just careless. I mean, throwing the ball into their hands. They scored points on almost every one of our turnovers. We had a low number of turnovers, but they were just 12 turnovers and you get 23 points out of it. It's hard. Give Chicago credit. I mean, they came in ready to go. They knocked down big threes. The ball moved. They had great pace to everything they did tonight. And they looked for, a half at least like a way better team. And tonight they were.
As well as you guys have been playing, are you surprised, given all that's on the line with so few games? Or did you kind of expect that there may be one?
I don't know. I mean, it's been so long since we've had one like this. They happen in a season. We had just come off playing 4 games in 6 days, but just walking into practice yesterday, that's just this lack of, we looked tired yesterday. We looked the same today. Shoot around was decent this morning. But it's just, practice habits are gonna carry over. And then yesterday was the first day we stopped practice a couple times in a while to say, hey, look, this just doesn't look right. And maybe there are times you just can't get out of that funk, but we couldn't tonight.
Obviously, quick turnaround with playing again on Sunday. What do you have to see on Sunday to kind of get back right?
Well, I mean, luckily we're playing a team that probably is as tired as us, traveling in, LA's been on the road all week. One of the first things I did was pull the plug on a lot of our starters during the second half to cut their minutes. We'll have a fresh Eleno on Sunday. We'll get a chance tomorrow to, watch film as a team when we get back and walk through a couple things. So we'll have a little bit of preparation, but I told them our preparation for Sunday starts right this minute. That, mentally, you've got to get yourself back into the scouting report and get your sleep and get rest for 2 nights and try to get ourselves ready to go.
Okay, thanks.
You bet.
All right, Coach, we'll head over to Zoom. Jen.
Hey, Coach, just wanted to ask you about Maisha and Shakira combining for 38 points against this Chicago front court. How do you evaluate that? Does it feel especially impressive against this group, given how deep and long they are?
Yeah, I mean, it's nice. I don't feel great walking out of it after, a loss. So, I'm glad that they gave a great effort, and I'm glad they played hard. And then, they did some good things. I mean, Maisha, I think, ended up on the plus side of things. I think that, the two of them battled, and this is, a tough team to battle against. I mean, I think, they did a good job. It's just too bad it got wasted, in a game like this.
And do you feel like when you did pull the plug on the starters and put the bench group in, do you feel like that helped you to give them some run and get a look at them a little bit, or do you pretty much know what everybody is at this point?
I pretty much know what everybody is right now. There's no big surprises at this point in the season. Our rotation is going to stay the same.
Any thoughts on Navina's scoring that you got late in the game?
It's nice. It was, our bench, the end of our bench outplayed the end of their bench. And that's not a knock on anybody. It's just, it doesn't affect how I'm thinking about playing our team right now.
Sure. And just last thing, you mentioned coming out flat, but defensively, besides just that lack of energy, what do you think was the biggest challenge, particularly in that first half?
Well, I mean, they were active and aggressive with their hands defensively. They got in passing lanes. We threw the ball right to them. I mean, they literally were laying the ball in at the other end. I mean, Kalia Copper had, a couple, breakaway baskets. It gets momentum going for a team, and we gave them momentum tonight.
Thanks, Coach.
Any other questions for Coach?
All right, thanks.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I was muted. I'm sorry, I apologize. So Alicia Clark and Natasha Cloud held a media blackout. On the recording, it cut off some things. So it cut off a good portion of what Alicia was saying. But this was what they said, and I quote, "We are not answering any questions about the game tonight. We are using this time to speak about BG, to up BG and her name in the media. Obviously, the decision that happened yesterday, meaning Thursday, weighed very heavily on the hearts of us all as her sisters in this league. As friends, I'm sure her family felt the same. And we just want to continue to reinforce the sanctity of sport. BG is a sports global ambassador. She is loved by her fans in Russia. She is loved by everyone here in Phoenix, everyone in this league, every city. She's a beautiful human being. And yesterday was her sentencing was unjust. We're going to continue to call on President Biden to do whatever he can to get her and Paul Whelan home and the other wrongful detained Americans over there. We miss her, and this is just not there's not even words of how we can describe this. I think what you saw yesterday, Thursday's game, the Connecticut Sun versus the Phoenix Mercury, just the weight of what this is, of this decision of her being used as a political pawn. And in this sports world, sports should be a safe space. No player should be used as a political pawn. So we're going to continue to lift her, and we're going to continue to speak on her behalf. And we're going to continue to have hope in the administration that they're going to get her home swiftly and that they can get her home safely. Thank you. And that was the end of media. But other than that, just otherwise, game-wise, I mean, they just didn't really have a great game at all. But we're going to recap next the Los Angeles Sparks, but we're going to take a 30-second break. We'll be right back with this commercial. And we're back. So next game, I was at this game today. The Washington Mystics were home and played the Los Angeles Sparks. The Los Angeles Sparks, we all know their utter dysfunction, not as a team, as an organization. Really quick, I just want to say these couple words of what I feel. So they played the Atlanta Dream, and they lost. And Kennedy Carter, her name has been the dirt that has been thrown on Kennedy Carter's name has been utterly ridiculous. There is a video of her. There's a video of when Cheyenne Parker makes the game-winning layup. Kennedy Carter has a reaction to where many have labeled it as a temper tantrum. And it's kind of been an issue, not with Kennedy, but we have been questioning why is she not getting the opportunities that she should be getting. Derek Fisher traded for her. I mean, there's another instance where she looked away after they lost. Simone Augustus pointed to her and said something, but I'm just not liking the fact that this is her third year, and we are creating these false narratives on her. Like, the team is a shit show. Like, the fact that all those pieces you put together and try to compete, and we've got where you're seeing players sitting on the court for 35 or 40 minutes playing piss poor, and yet here's Kennedy Carter, and you're asking, is she going to get in the game? Oh, we'll see. So there's something there that they're not telling us. And these are the questions that, unfortunately, these beat writers and those that are covering the Sparks need to ask. Is there something that you're not wanting to tell us about Kennedy? Because if that's the case, then either there is one of those, you got to earn your minutes, or XYZ. I was in a Twitter space, and shout out to the committee. Great space, but there was somebody that was like, Kennedy has to change. And I'm paraphrasing it, but it was like, she has to change, but kind of gave the organization a pass, pretty much saying, well, you have to change yourself as a player. How can I change as a player when I'm not getting the opportunities to show what I can do for your organization? When I'm practically sitting on the bench all season? Like, she just wants to play basketball. She just wants to hoop. That's not hard. But you have players on this team that think they're that person, when in reality, they're not. And they're out there 30, 40 minutes, and some of them are finishing the game with triple singles. Like, I've never seen, like, the Sparks are, the Sparks are only relevant because of the success they've had. But since 2019, they've been trash. That's a fact. Derek Fisher came in here and went to Los Angeles, and his ego obviously was too big. Letting not just Candace Parker walk, but Chelsea Gray walk, Raquana Williams walk. And then also, too, you bring in Liz Cambage, and then you're seeing tweets from Taya Cooper, well, even though she deleted them, her reaction to Liz being cut. There's just a lot of stuff happening, and there's no accountability from the people up top. I don't even know who the GM is for the Sparks. Hell, I don't even know if Fred Williams is going to be the head coach next year. But this Sparks team is just, it's flat out garbage. Let me get off that. So the Washington Mystics at the ESA play the Sparks. Final score, Los Angeles Sparks 79. Washington Mystics 76.
What was that? What the hell was that? I'm sorry the H words and the D words aren't appropriate over the airwaves, but it's going to be today. I don't know how much more of this I can take. How in God's name?
I had to see this in person. You can't, like, watching some of the games on TV. You know what? We're going to start with pregame. Start pregame, Coach T. That's how we're going to start it off. And then I'm going to get into the game.
Hey, Coach, first off, LA is #1 in steals. Just what are your thoughts on today's matchup?
Take care of the ball. That's what is that. That's the first clear message on offense about playing them. Is they have active hands. They are second in the league in steals. They rely on that as a part of their defense. I mean, they gamble quite a bit, and so that's a priority.
And then, Coach, not looking ahead, but with tonight, it's a pretty big matchup for you to grab that 4 and also to keep that pick that between you and LA. So again, thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, we're watching the other games. I don't know, how things will play out in the standings, but we can only control ourselves. So we got 3 games left, and if we can go out and win all 3, we'll do what we have to do and see what happens with everybody else. If it's not meant to be, then it's not. But we will have done what we're supposed to do.
And then coming off the Chicago game, how do you feel rest and mentally wise coming into?
I don't know. I mean, we basically just did a short walkthrough when we got back yesterday and watched film, trying to get us, some sleep and get ready for today. Both teams, coming off road games, they've been on a long road trip. We have our depth. I think our depth has to play a factor today. I think, our bench, they're playing a real short bench right now. We have a little bit more depth to use, and so we need to make sure that that's part of the game today.
Coach, you mentioned watching film with the team. Is there anything you can take from that Chicago loss?
We didn't watch any film from the Chicago game. Basically, we'll trash that till we play them again. There was no point to linger on that. We needed to move on. Today's too important. They all know, I only had a little bit of, I guess feeling a little better. I'm watching their game right now with Connecticut. At the end of the first quarter, it was 31-14. I said, well, we were 1 point better. So it's no consolation. Chicago's playing great. They got us at the right time. But we move on. Today's what is what's in front of us. And there's no point in, going back right now about it. If we were to play them in the playoffs, we would watch that film real carefully. But right now, no.
So knowing how well you played played against Vegas offensively, and certainly at times against Seattle. What's the message to the team to be able to pull back from that one and not?
I think we the minute that game was over, the first thing I said to them in the locker room was that, look, we've had a bad 2 days. We didn't practice well the day before. We looked tired. We acted like it. So the only way you fix it is go get your rest and move on. Get into the scouting report. Focus on LA. And that was the message. 1 minute after that loss, and that's how we've approached it. We haven't talked about it as a group at all. Yep.
Hey, how you doing, Coach?
Good.
So you all have been had one of like the slowest paces in the WNBA.
Oh boy, here we go again.
But Natasha has been one of the best passers.
Yeah.
So how do you think that your offense has contributed to her being one of the best passers?
Well, I think and I've said this, and you weren't here part of this conversation. They'll all have heard my lecture before about pace. Worst stat in the league. And it's all relative. In a 12-team league, it's really minute when the difference in pace is like 2 possessions a game from like 3rd to like 10th. And so the second part of your question, but I think one of it is that our defense has been so good that there are less possessions in the game. Teams are using more of the shot clock. The biggest thing we've had to do is that, when you get into that mode, you're not always gambling, you're not always doing this. And so jump starting the fast break is a little bit harder, but we have a rule that we try to get it across in 4 seconds. I think Tosh and Rui have been really good at that. And I think Tosh played a lot like this, maybe even last year, but we didn't shoot the ball as well. I mean, your assists go up the better shooters you play with. And I think that she's played with teammates that she knows where they're good at. She knows where to get them the ball, and they're better shooters. I mean, Ariel and Alicia Clark and, Elena Deladon and Maisha and all those guys, they're good shooters. And so I think that helps a point guard know that, we can push it and I'll get them good shots. Yep. I do like the voting. I think that, rewarding whoever, we consider to be the best 10 or 12 players or whatever the number is. I think that's good. So, and it'll be cyclical. I mean, sometimes you're going to have more post players that are playing well or big forwards. Sometimes it's going to be more guards, but I think you need to reward the best players for the seasons they've had. Got any on Zoom?
All right, Coach, we'll go to Zoom. We'll start with Rashawn.
Hey, Coach. Nice to see you again.
Thanks.
These last 5 games or so, 6 games, what have you seen? Which strides or what's been key for Shakira Austin?
I think just, when you're a rookie, just learning the league more, so now the last part of the season, she's playing teams for a second or third time. And I think, the league better, tendencies a little better. I think she's around teammates who have not allowed her slippage. A lot of times as a rookie coming right out of college, you get tired. And I think everybody has that time during the season when you're young that you hit a wall. Every player hits it, whether you're young or not. But I think rookies, you haven't had much of a chance to catch your breath between your college season and the start of ours. But I think, we took a little bit of a vacation a few weeks ago for a couple of days. I think that helped her. And I think, she's locked in on, where we can be at the end of the season. I think that really helps. She's playing with a team that's going to push her every day.
And then when you look at just where you guys are right now, like how important is that 4th spot to you?
It's kind of funny. I mean, with this format, I don't know if it's as important as it might be otherwise. It's hard to say. And, a little bit depends on who you're playing and where you're playing them. It's not something we really control other than winning our games right now. And see, we don't have the tiebreaker with either Connecticut or Seattle. So they are in control of that. We're just going to go try to win our 3 games and then we'll see what happens.
And then is Elena resting the rest of the regular season? Is that
no, she's playing every game right now.
She's in the lineup tonight.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, we just held her out the 1 game because we had played so many in a row. We we had played, 3 and 4 days, and this was a chance to get her a break before we played today.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Coach. Appreciate it.
We'll go to Nathan.
Hey, Coach, is there anything you've seen from the Los Angeles Sparks the last time we played them, and is there anything you'd like to see emphasized in this game today?
That's a little bit different. I mean, we actually couldn't use some of the footage from last time as a preparation. Cambage was playing, and NECA did not play the last time we played, and so we've tried to kind of watch who they are now. Obviously, NECA's playing at a very high level. We talked about their defense, being disruptive. I think that, Brittany Sykes has been a credible energy source for their team. She just plays so hard every night, and they got players with a lot of pride. I mean, you got skilled players out there. Katie Lou is one of the better 3-point shooters in the league. Jordan Canada is a great penetrator. They've just been a little bit shorthanded on this road trip, and so we hope we're catching them really tired. But we have to come out and play. And I don't know that we've learned anything so much from the last game we played, other than, we need to take care of the basketball and move the ball. When we move the ball well against them, we gain an advantage, and not just them, against any good team. Our ball movement offensively is going to be important today.
Appreciate you, Coach. Good luck today.
Yep. Thanks.
All right, Coach. All set. Thank you.
Yep.
Excuse me. I apologize. The mic was muted. When I arrived there, the energy at ESA was great. Coming out the tunnel, it looked very energetic. This is a Spark team that's been struggling. And I'm thinking like, okay, you're at home, you're pissed. You're playing for something. Because remember, if the Sparks miss the playoffs, which I'm still holding that to my agenda, if they miss the playoffs, we get their lottery pick. Like, watching them today, I would think entering today, okay, you have momentum. You got 2 games. You got the Fever twice. Beating the Sparks would have put us really into the 4th seed after Seattle lost to Las Vegas today. But remember, they hold the tiebreaker. So now you got to close out Friday and Sunday against Indiana. Today, watching this game, the Washington Mystics struggled. When I mean mildly, struggled offensively to find that they couldn't find any rhythm offensively. They just, for example, in the second quarter, they were down 13. Ariel Atkins and Maisha Hines-Allen had 20 points. Shakira Austin had 16 points. I mean, had great looks at basket. Just weren't making shots. And this is the Sparks team that does not have Liz Cambage anymore. Brittany Sykes was their leading scorer with 21 points. I mean, we can – I'm going to just say, the officiating in this game and that crew in particular, the officiating was bullshit. There were a lot of questionable calls. It was interesting on our half of the court where I was sitting. There were a lot of calls Washington was not getting. But going into the second half, Los Angeles, because you switch sides, the same side, Los Angeles, they were getting the calls that Washington should have gotten. But I'm just going to keep it real. That wasn't the reason we lost. We can look. I remember him saying, Coach T saying after in the extra interview, you can complain about certain calls and different things like that. He said if it was the same officiating crew, you make an argument. But is different crews. If you're getting the same calls over and over again as an individual player, you're doing something wrong. And first and foremost, let's just get the elephant out the room. You're not going to win basketball games where you shot the ball from three. You've taken 15 threes and you made 3. That's 20%. And you shot the ball below 40%. That's not winning you any basketball games.
I mean, this is some bad stuff. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to say. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how much more of this I can take. I just don't know. This is ridiculous. Oh, Lord.
I mean, the Sparks team came into the ESA with a 6-game losing streak. I mean, like I'm not going to say the officiating did play some of the fact. I feel like it got in their heads to me from my point of view. But when it was 19-19 in the first quarter to open up just the way we played, we weren't hitting shots. I mean, I question Elena did not have a great game. 0-3 from 3. 2 of 12 from the field at 8 points. But here's Maisha Hines-Allen, who's having a hell of a game, who to me was one of the reasons we had that little comeback. Why did you not have Shakira, Elena, and Maisha out there in the lineup? Out there. That would have been a lineup I would like to have seen. And then I mean, I think also too, what needs to be the factor is the bench. Their bench had, other than Maisha, the bench wasn't really effective. Shatori Walker and Elizabeth Williams had 4 points. The Sparks had 13 points off the bench. Maisha was really doing her thing out there. We can boo-hoo, we can be on Twitter, all these different calls like that. But it just comes down to we got to make shots. There was a couple times where I like to see them being more aggressive. They just struggled. It was ugly to the point where they came back. We had opportunities to win the game. And, you give the ball to Elena, who's been struggling. And that same shot against Seattle, I'm thinking okay, she's going to make it. She missed it. Now, I don't want to say it was one of those days. I think the lineup to have Maisha and Shakira would have been out there better to me. Los Angeles just had 5 steals. The spacing was terrible. I'm just going to use that word. And then the certain matchups, they were in some very, very the matchup. There was a point where you have example, you got Maisha Hines-Allen in the post. Who's guarding her? Lexi Brown, who's 5'10", 5'11". Back her ass in the paint. Those are matchups that you should be taking advantage of. That's just one example that I saw at the game. Now, Jesus. again, like they took a step backwards. Like on the defensive side of the ball, and I'm getting I'm getting frustrated. Keep hearing, well, we'll figure it out. We just gotta, get a next game. No, at this point, again, you've got champions on this team. This is not rocket science. These are all simple fixes. And I just we gave the Los Angeles Sparks that game. And oh, by the way, just to be fair, that inbound pass with about less than 4 seconds left, Latasha Cloud was fouled. Jordan Canada hit her arm. That's a foul. Like that officiating crew, I've watched them. That particular crew, they do make some very questionable calls. And Coach T talked about it. He didn't talk about it because he likes his money. And I know Natasha, tweeted out, find me, our officials are trash. I mean, everybody left the game. I was hot. I was pissed because, it should not have even gotten to that point. They gotta look within each other. Cause I ain't gonna lie. Cause when these playoffs hit, it's gonna be some interesting stuff to watch.
I just don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. This is disgusting. It's disgraceful. It's embarrassing. And I'm ticked off. It don't make any sense. This is unacceptable. Unacceptable. And something needs to be done about it. Quick, fast, and in a hurry.
Also looking at this box score too, offense just wasn't clicking. Like the fact that Alicia Clark had a Krispy Kreme donut next to her name, that's disappointing. I mean, she was active on the defensive side of the ball. There are some calls fouls with her that were questionable. I mean, Shakira Austin had a double-double. She ties, I want to say her name is Alessandra Santos de Oliveira for most double-doubles. I think it's in the franchise as a rookie. I mean, other than that, just disappointing. I mean, they had more fast break points. They had 4 more fast break points than us. We had 13 second points chance. We had 32 points in the paint. Their biggest lead was 13. 10 times the lead changed. 3 times the game was tied. We gave them this game. And a game also, too, where they really, I say for the most part, didn't have a great game neither offensively. But I can't blame. Fouls, yes, that was probably some of the worst officiating, but that really wasn't the legitimate reason we lost. I'm sorry to say that. That's just a fact. And I'm not going to sit there and say fatigue was an issue because he said we had 2 days. Like I understand the schedule is shitty. I get it, but let's get into the post game. Oh, and another post game where they held a media blackout. Elizabeth Williams spoke. I'm going to read verbatim of what she said in the post game. So it's just Coach T.
Lost an opportunity to win 3 straight and put.
Oh, sorry. Let's try it again.
Lost an opportunity to win 3 straight and put ourselves in an interesting position. Now it's going to be tough for us on seeding. it's a tough spot. We didn't shoot the ball well at all. You know, I mean, normally if we hold a team to 70 something, 79, we're going to win. And, just, you know, we didn't score enough points tonight.
Really rough night for Elena in particular.
Yep. Everybody has one of those sometimes. I don't know if I've ever seen her have one like that. But get it out of her system now, I guess. It's just one of those days.
And with the comeback, it looked like some things started to work when Maisha was kind of running the show for a while. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, she was, and I kind of got caught in a coach's dilemma. You know, she was playing well, but Shakira was playing well, and I don't think I can second guess myself about having Elena on the floor. That's your franchise player, and you know, if I had it to do over again, I might have played them all together, but that's not our normal rotation, and we haven't practiced it a lot, so it's something we'll think about for the playoffs. But it's just one of those things tonight.
And last thing, are there things that you feel like you need to particularly like clean up or improve on this?
A lot. I mean, make shots would be a nice one. You know, ball go in the basket, it would be a lot easier. You know, you're not going to win very many games when you shoot 38%. You know, not against good teams.
It seemed like it was just hard.
Skip. Good Lord, thank the good Lord I am on FCC airwaves. I thank the good Lord. It's hard to take, man.
Get a rhythm in the game.
I have some thoughts that I cannot share. I like my money.
And also, I guess, as we said earlier, coming off that game in Chicago, and both teams had a kind of grueling road stretch. Did you see any tiredness or?
I didn't think that was I don't attribute any of that to that. I mean, you know, didn't bother Maisha, didn't bother Ariel. You know, we just, you know, we got some good plays. We missed some shots that, you know, we normally make. I can't speak for our players about whether they were tired or not.
I don't know. Maybe y'all can help me out and make sense of this to me. I don't know. I think I know a little bit about the game of basketball.
You know, that's neither here nor there at this point anyway.
And lastly, we said LA led the league in steals. They were always in passing lane. Just from your point of view, but this is from LA defense. So
I mean, they only had 5 steals. So you know, we had low turnovers. We couldn't force any turnovers from them. I mean, I don't think, you know, I thought we got good looks at the basket. You know, if I had to draw up plays again and get, you know, Elena and Alicia and Tosh some of those same open shots, I'd feel good about drawing up those same plays. Ball just didn't go in.
Let me tell y'all something. Y'all getting on my damn nerves. What the hell is going on? Wake the hell up. You're a below average team, damn it. I'm sitting there making bets talking about how after the year y'all had last year, what the hell is wrong with y'all? You ain't that damn good. Stop acting like it. Play together. Play team ball. Figure it out. Stop being an average defensive team.
Are you inspired?
So
You're still going to have to be really kind of defensive, ranking kind of squad going into the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we've had to be mostly all season anyway. I'm hoping we can find a way to get, you know, more players consistently shooting the ball. I mean, just even one stat tonight, you know, is I'd like to shoot more threes. Not only did we only shoot 16, but we didn't make very many. We were 3 for 16. You know, normally we would like to shoot 23, 24, 25 threes. And I thought, you know, we got on top of each other tonight a little bit. I think our spacing has to be better and recognize how we're being played a little bit better. I think that's been one of our problems. You know, I thought we came down a couple times tonight and didn't even see that they got caught with bad matchups in transition. And I thought we had a little bit of tunnel vision sometimes.
All right, coach. Nothing from Zoom, so you were all set.
Thank God.
And I'm going to read what Elizabeth Williams, said in the post game, and I quote, excuse me. Just continuing from the Chicago game, wanted to take this time and talk about BG and the predicament that she's been in. Obviously, with the trial ending and the judgment coming out, all of us are pretty emotional. It's already a tough time in the season, physically and mentally. But hearing that, I think all of us around the league are really thinking about her. And again, calling on President Biden and the U.S. government to do whatever they can to make sure she comes home safely and swiftly as possible. The entire season has not felt the same without her here. And just wanted to take this time and talk about it and to remind people to emphasize that through all this, she's not forgotten and she's a priority in all our minds today. Today is just a game. We have plenty more, but this season is not what it is without her. So we're thinking about her and asking for everything to be done. That was Elizabeth Williams in the post-game media blackout for the Washington Mystics. But other than that, they got to figure it out Friday and Sunday. I'm going back there. I'm going back there next Sunday. I got to see this. There's just no way to watch. To see what I saw today, disgusting. We can point the fingers at officiating. We can say coaching. Yeah, there was times where I questioned, why did you not have Maisha Hines-Allen, Shakira Austin, and Linda Deladon out there? I mean, your starting five, with the exception of Shakira and Ariel and Tosh, there were some struggles there. I mean, I don't get it. And then I get, like, when we play Seattle in the first round, which is going to be 3 games, I'm curious to see how they're going to approach that. But I'm getting tired of hearing, like the same stuff these past few games. Oh, it's just one of those games. We'll figure it out. When? We are a championship team, damn it. When do the excuses stop? And just start saying, no, we as a coaching staff, as players, we got to just take accountability right here and just play better. Because those are all simple fixes. Like, no disrespect, but if my star, the team that's built around for her, if she's having a bad game, I'm not having her out there in the fourth with 5 minutes left in the game. Because if I watched her the last four possessions touch the ball, 3 of them she's missed from the field. She's struggling to create her own shot and make a shot from 3. Why is she out there? When I have somebody on the bench that was responsible for having the comeback that we had in this game today.
I'm going to reiterate my comments right here, right now. The clock is officially ticking. The honeymoon is over. Damn your feelings. Who gives a damn? You got a job to do. And the job ain't even a championship. It's to be respectable. And you can't even do that?
I know I sound emotional, but they should not have lost this game. They shouldn't have. This is a Sparks team that's doo-doo. I mean, thank God that the Minnesota Lynx won today. We have the option to swap their first round pick because they don't make the playoffs. We get that pick. Because remember, the Sparks have their pick is owned by the Atlanta Dream. And also, too, when we gave our number 1 overall pick for this year, which was Ryan Howard, to them, they gave it to us. We can swap our first round pick for Los Angeles first round pick. That's how that works. And if the Sparks miss the playoffs, we get their pick. We could swap it. So Other than that, that's going to conclude the episode. I'm going to go to bed now. I'm pissed. It was a great game. It was great to see certain friends that I've made through the Mystic community. As that's going off in the background, please like, comment, subscribe. I will catch you guys on the flip side. Peace out.
I want you to understand. Don't ask me a damn question. Don't ask me anything. You sound off. I'm going to eat some cheese doodles. That's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to eat some cheese doodles. I don't care. I got a bag of cheese doodles right here in my hand. Y'all go ahead and y'all sound off. If y'all hear me crunching in the background, this is what I do when I'm stressed. Some people squeeze a ball. Some people go, and they kickboxing or they work out and all this other stuff. I eat cheese doodles. That's what I do when I'm stressed. I'm going to eat my cheese doodles. You guys go ahead and you sound off. I've got absolutely nothing else to say about this. This basketball abomination. I'm just that disgusted.
It's ridiculous. It's obvious what's being done out here. It's on a nightly basis. I hope the world can see now what's really going on out here, because it's getting ridiculous. It's really ridiculous. Yes, man. This is ridiculous, man. Ridiculous.
But I get sick of these guys complaining. These young guys, they never call us and say, when a coach is wrong, I'm going to call him out. But when players are wrong, I'm going to call them out. Thanks for the kind words. But listen, I'm going to criticize guys that they deserve it. And listen, they can kiss my ass if they don't like it.
Thank you for tuning in to Big Nate Sports Talk. If you enjoyed that episode and you want to see more content, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Bring your sports game on Big Nate Sports Talk.